Tuesday, March 8th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Fat Tuesday here, and actually along the Gulf Coast there, around New Orleans and other Gulf coastal areas, Mobile as well. There is a severe weather threat today. I'll get into that here coming up in just a moment. Let's start off with a look at the big picture on the radar imagery this morning. And there's the core of our next developing system back into parts of Oklahoma and Kansas. Some heavy rain, some embedded thunderstorms. That's the beginning of what's going to be a couple of pretty active, actually probably three pretty active weather days across the country. In anticipation of the system, you have a number of flood watches which have been put out all the way from southeastern Louisiana up through most of Alabama, North Georgia, the western parts of the Carolinas, and then on up toward lower parts of the Northeast. Snow products out in the cold air side of the system. It's already snowing this morning in western parts of Kansas and parts of Colorado, and there'll be a strip of pretty decent snow with this up toward the Great Lakes region. Temperatures this morning kind of cool across our region. Again, a lot of folks in the Carolinas in the 30s, some areas in the 20s this morning. There's the warmer air pooling ahead of the system that'll fuel the developing severe weather threat. There's what the European does with this by 7 a.m. Thursday. Pretty dynamic upper level system, and then that swings into our region, the upper level energy itself by Thursday night. Of course, that'll be when the front is pushing east of us. Here's the upper air chart today off the GFS, and there you go. We're looking at a pretty good upper level trough here, 500 millibar disturbance pulling into Texas and Oklahoma. There's actually some energy diving into the backside of this. So this will actually be a strengthening system. Let's go to the surface charts, and I'll show you the GFS first, then a couple of the other models. Here we go at 7 o'clock this evening. Notice the thunderstorms breaking out ahead of this system in parts of the lower Mississippi Valley. There's the day one convective outlook, pretty broad slight risk area, including areas from close to Dallas-Fort Worth up to most of Arkansas, all of Louisiana, most of Mississippi, and into the southwesternmost parts of Alabama. And then we get into the day tomorrow, and there's the afternoon and evening convection by 7 p.m. on Wednesday. So for our area here in the Carolinas, we're going to have rain spreading in from west to east as Wednesday unfolds. The severe weather threat tomorrow and tomorrow night, the highest probabilities right along the Gulf Coast, but depending on how much instability can develop northward, especially around here by later on Wednesday night, to monitor the severe weather potential. And again, let me step you through the next couple frames on the GFS. This is 7 a.m. Thursday, band of rain and some embedded thunderstorms pushing through, and then that pushes to coastal parts of the region by late afternoon and evening on Thursday. There's the day 3 thunderstorm outlook. No organized, or I should say no formal slight risk areas, but a couple of C-text there. And really, again, I think we're going to have to monitor for severe weather around our region with this system, just like we did with the weekend system. It's another one of those low instability but very high shear, very dynamic type of environments that will be moving through. And so depending on how the small scale features set up, there could be a few weak tornadoes and certainly some damaging wind potential with this system. Let me go with the European and show you how this thing unfolds on the European. The rain spreads in to the Piedmont of North Carolina and the upstate of South Carolina as Wednesday unfolds. And it's going to be kind of a cool day tomorrow with the kind of an in situ wedge developing with the rain moving in, probably northern foothills in the upper 40s for highs, and then highs in the 50s across a good portion of the Piedmont. And then it'll be one of those deals with steady and rising temperatures coming up Wednesday night with the winds switching around out of the south and a lot of rain around, some embedded thunderstorms. And then here we are, 7 p.m. Friday, the convection along the coast. So this will be a deal where we see some rain spread in tomorrow. Then the rain will be at its heaviest Wednesday night into Thursday morning across the I-85 corridor. And that's we'll have to watch for some thunderstorm potential as well. Canadian goes nuts with this thing. Here we go on the Canadian. This is 7 o'clock in the evening on tomorrow, Wednesday. Okay, we go 7 a.m. Thursday. Heavy rain being cranked out. Some thunderstorm activity for sure. And then Canadian really pops a pretty decent surface flow over central parts of North Carolina. And look at the upper level chart on this thing. 500 millibars, pretty dynamic, closed upper air low rather, centered over, I don't know, eastern parts of South Carolina. And check out the surface chart at 84 hours. That's dynamically driven precipitation here on the backside of this low pressure that, taken at face value, could be some snow for parts of East Tennessee and the mountains of North Carolina, even maybe in the parts of South Carolina. But the Canadian is by far the most extreme with this, and I certainly wouldn't get excited about that. And there you go, Friday evening with that dynamic area precip over much of the western Carolinas and into the Virginias. So that's interesting. You have to watch these upper air lows, but again, let me kind of compare and contrast that with you. There is the upper air chart off the Canadian model, 7 a.m. Friday. Compare that to, let's see, the European model, Thursday evening. And it's not nearly as intense with the upper air low. And that is one of the biases of the Canadian model, that it kind of goes nuts with some of these systems from time to time. All right, let's go to the total rainfall. This is off of the RPM, and I know this legend's probably going to be impossible for you to see, but the general idea is the red areas, anything in the red shading, that's the 2-inch area. And you ramp up to that deeper, that darker color there. That's over 3 inches of precip. And here's what the HPC is going with for total rain amounts over the next 5 days. And, of course, that'll be with this next system entirely. A lot of 2-3 inch type totals printed out across a good chunk of the eastern part of the United States. And, again, the heaviest rain with this will probably be mountains and foothills. But all of us should, again, have a pretty good rain event out of this. Behind the system, pretty quiet. There's Friday, Saturday. The weekend looks delightful. Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to continue to go with highs in the 60s and lots of sunshine. And then there's the GFS, the next system rolling in on Tuesday. European really dampens that out, but that'd be the next potential system right around Tuesday of next week. All right, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great Tuesday, and God bless.